Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. The very frustrated Knicks-Verse. I am absolutely blown away by, let me fix this here. There we go. I'm absolutely blown away by the lack of passion that this New York Knicks team displayed tonight in Cleveland. Like, they had zero desire to avoid being humiliated. It just seemed like this team, I don't know, they just like, all right, well, let's just show up and see what we can do. It's like, where was the fight? Where was the passion? Where was the never-ending desire to win? Gone. And you could see it in the first 2 minutes of this game. The Knicks should have been up. We should have been up like 10-2 right away. Instead, a bad pass, bad handles. It can't finish at the rim. It just and they were up like 5-0, and then that was it. That was it. I did not expect to win this game, but what I was looking for was a team that showed up. Now, we can say outclassed, we're just not in the same league and say all that stuff. But in a lot of ways, that is an excuse that is being put out there. That is an excuse to allow Thibodeau to continue what he's doing. And honestly, Leon, you screwed up in assembling the rest of this team. The starters are the starters, but the rest of the team, you knew if you weren't going to give Thibs players that he trusts and plays, he wasn't going to play them. And we are suffering now, unfortunately, from the overuse of these starters in the first half of the season. They're cooked. OG doesn't even look like OG anymore at all. Josh Hart's not even on the court. Still no Mitch. Hopefully he's coming back soon. But man, was this a really this is the kind of loss that makes you do some deep soul searching. And if it doesn't, then there's something wrong with you as a team. Honestly. If you're just going to dismiss this game, oh well, then what is this? What are you here for? You're here for fifth place in the league? Is that what this is about? That's good enough? Fifth place? I mean, the amount of assets that were traded away to basically be very similar to what the team was last season in terms of its ability to go deep. This team right now, if they're going to end up facing the Celtics right now because Cleveland, they keep playing like this. They're not giving up that number 1 seed. And if we keep playing like this, we're not going to eclipse the Celtics to get the 2nd seed. So that means we're going to have to end up playing the Celtics in the 2nd round. And if this is the team, I understand Mitch is coming back. We were without Hart and OG, first game back from his injury. But still, it's not like, actually, Tommy Beer said it best. Here, we'll go to here. We'll go to this. Where's Tommy Beer's tweet? Here it is. Tommy Beer's tweet. Not need to stress, Knicks fans. As long as Mitch Robb comes back completely healthy after a year of not playing basketball and can shut down Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Evan Mobley and Jason Tatum and KP and Jaylen Brown, Knicks will be fine. That pretty much, his sarcasm is there, but it captures the total spirit of the attitude, and I've been victim to it as well because I do know that Mitch is going to make a tremendous impact defensively on this team, but is it going to be good enough to undo what we just saw? I mean, this team was destroyed. Look at this score, 142-105. That's the most points Knicks have given up in regulation all season. I get it. The second game of a back-to-back. We had the travel from New York to Cleveland, but guess what? So did Cleveland. They played in Brooklyn last night, but they showed up. Not only did they show up, they showed fire and desire, like Clyde would say. We looked confused. We were giving people wide open looks constantly. That's, I mean, yes, personnel, I get that, but that's coaching, man. Look at this thing right here. First of all, once this was shown, you could see we were in trouble. Battle from beyond the arc. NBA ranks this season. Knicks are last in opponent three-point field goal percentage. Meanwhile, the Cavs are first. So when you have that, you get this score right here. That's the score. But the thing that drives me insane about all of this, and shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me here. I'm just going to talk. I'll look at this later. Right now, oh my God. I'm just stunned. Honestly, I am utterly stunned. But let's get to this right here. So we're not in their league, right? But meanwhile, we have 37 wins. 37 wins in 56 games. We have a .661 winning percentage. You're going to tell me that these two teams right here are 30 points better per game versus us? We're just going to accept that? No, absolutely not. This is the coaching. This is the defensive scheme. This is the coaching from the beginning of the year where he didn't develop any of the players. Look at Dottier, comes out and fucking drains a three immediately. Look at Hawkporty, how he's playing, but he sat on the bench for 30 games. This is what I was fucking talking about earlier. You can't depend on just 5 guys to play the most fucking minutes in the NBA and win and beat the best teams in February. It just doesn't work that way. And everyone's like, oh, well, they get paid lots of money. They're young. What? It doesn't work like that because the other teams don't treat their players like this. Here we go. This on-screen graphic right there. Knicks, 36.2 minutes for starters, leads NBA. The Cavs, who are number one, 28.7 minutes per game. That is almost 8 minutes for each 5 starters less that they play than the Knicks. That's 28th in the NBA. No, you're like, oh, but they have the depth, George. Well, why the fuck don't we have the depth? Why the fuck don't we have it? They play in the same league, right? Why don't we have it? It's bullshit. Our fucking coach doesn't develop these guys. Unless it's like desperado moment. And now look, they're cooked. Look at Mikal Bridges. The guy plays so many minutes. And then suddenly he gets like a little charge. Like in the third quarter, he shows up. He was like nowhere offensively in this game. And the last game, honestly. Last night against the Bulls, he was nowhere as well. He came through with like best block of the year. That was fantastic. But why did it have to go down to that? Why? This team is not being coached properly to its strengths and to help hide its weaknesses. Thibodeau is coaching this team like it's 2021. That's how he's coaching it. Like he has the same personnel out there. He doesn't. He's got to hide guys. He's got to like rotate guys in and out more. Keep them fresh. Keep the bench engaged and active in this game, in any game. So he can come out and contribute. Not just, oh, look at a guy who's been sitting on the bench for 8 games, for 8 games, and then you're like, throw him in there now. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. I did not expect to win this game. I'm not saying I expected to win this game. I was hoping. I got surprised. But what I was looking for was a team that showed up. and said, hey, yes, we are the 5th best team in the NBA. Actually, the Knicks technically are like the 4th best team in the NBA, behind OKC. I mean, Memphis, we destroyed. Denver, we swept the series. Houston, we split, and we can beat them. Lakers, whatever. That was a fucking weird game. I mean, who else? Who else is better than the Knicks except for OKC, Boston, and Cleveland? Are you going to tell me there's a 30-point divide between those 3 and us? That's insanity. We have the number 1 overall pick in Karl-Anthony Towns. We have Jalen Brunson, the starter for the East All-Star team, All-NBA player. We have OG Anunoby, one of the top defending wings in the game. Mikal is supposed to also be a top defending wing in the game, and who can score. And this is what we get. I'm embarrassed, man, to be on here right now talking about the Knicks after that effort. I believe in this team. I believe in these players. And yes, could we use more depth? Absolutely. Where the fuck is TJ Warren? I don't think we need him down in Westchester, guaranteeing whatever championship down there. We need him up here. Why? Why did we go chase Landry Shamet in the offseason? Guy fucking got hurt. He's like, he's such a frustrating player. He should be contributing a lot more. Why was Precious the option for us? Precious is he's a square peg in a round hole. He doesn't fit. I mean, did you guys see the type of shots he was? Then he just throws a shot up and it goes in, and we got to fucking celebrate that. But meanwhile, he misses 3 or 4 in a row. If a defense's game plan is, hey, let's make Precious shoot, you got a problem with your power forward. You got a problem. He can't even put it on the floor and dribble. It just gets stripped from him, loses it. I am disgusted by this, and I'm sure they are as well. I am. I know that they are. The players, they don't want to. Look at this. Can you imagine being these players right here? 142-105 to a team that's just 2 places in front of you in the standings. I'm sure they're frustrated. Now, is it just the drop coverage? Is it just the miscommunication? Yeah, it is. It's a lot of that. Let's get back to this here. JD, beautiful tweet here from JD. This team is absolutely lost on defense. They have no idea when to switch, when to hedge, when to recover. That's what I mean. In 2021, Thibs, even though it was a less talented team, Thibs had players who knew when to do this. Even R.J. Barrett, who we all acknowledge is a weak defender, he could switch. He understood when to hedge. Just saw Towns switch on Donovan Mitchell when OG should never have switched off. Here's another one. James Edwards, the trilogy. Going under a screen when Hunter, DeAndre Nick fucking Killer Hunter, is shooting 39% from 3 isn't ideal. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Mikal. Situational awareness. Know your opponent. They know you. And people were like, oh, hey, we just don't have the personnel. We don't have the... Oh, well, how come we can't get fucking wide open threes? How come all of our 3-point shots are basically challenged? It's in this game specifically. But they get wide open ones. Why? Because they are connected. They communicate with each other. They understand where each other's going to be on the floor. This is game 56. We should be past this. It's not game 6. I gave the Knicks a pass. What was this, the 3rd game of the season when we played the Cavs? Oh, we gave that game away to them. And I was like, oh, you know what? Right now, it's early. They got to create that chemistry. Well, here we are, game 56. You can tell me missing Josh Hart makes this much of a difference? A compromised OG Anunoby makes this much of a difference? If it does, this team has serious problems in terms of going deep in the playoffs. It has serious problems if that's the case. This was my halftime tweet. Where is your competitive spirit, Knicks? Another total embarrassment versus a team above you in the standings. Thibs, your defensive scheme is worse than a D3 team when facing top-level perimeter shooting teams. That's the difference right there. That is the difference. That is this whole thing. That's this. You can't play the same versus other teams the way you play better shooting three-point teams. You have to switch it up. You have to adapt to what your opponent is doing. The Celtics, high volume, excellent three-point shooting team, scorch our asses. The Cavs, high volume, three-point shooting team, scorches our asses. The Bulls, one of the reasons we lost 2 games to the Bulls this season is because they're a high volume three-point shooting team. Now, they're not a high efficiency three-point shooting team, but they are enough. And when you give teams who like to launch threes wide open looks, guess what happens? Percentages go up. They go up. And then your chances of winning go down, especially when you bypass, do the pump fake and try to drive, and you give up a three-point look. The math is not going to work. This is right now. I mean, I want to use the word broken, but I don't want to go that far because this offense is absolutely lethal when it's cooking. And we've seen moments of the defense stepping up and getting key stops at times. Just highlight Mikal Bridges. You know, the block on Trae Young, the block last night against Vucevic. There's a couple other ones as well. There have been key stops. Same with OG, some key strips where he creates turnovers. Deuce has done it. Brunson taking a key charge. Cat, even though he doesn't have a block all game, but then when it comes down to crunch time, they get a key block. Let me tell you guys something else. The number 2 team in winning percentage in clutch time are the New York Knicks. Number 1, I think, are the Cavs, actually, in clutch time. So, the team can step up when it needs to. The fucking problem is we get down by 20 points immediately. After the jump. We're underwater immediately after the jump. Get back to this here. Look at this shit. This is not even the one I'm looking for. All right, here. All right. Let's go to this. So this is the box score for this game. Precious Achiuwa, 3 of 10. OG Anunoby, he played 27 minutes, 2 of 6, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. 0 rebounds. I get first game back. I get it. There was even a moment there where I think it was he was on the fast break, and Donovan Mitchell cut him off, and I think OG got startled. He slipped, and his foot kind of like slid, and I saw him grabbing the foot. I thought he was gone. He was going to leave, but no, he stayed in the game, so at least that's a good sign. But look, a minus 25 for Precious, a minus 23 for OG, minus 21 for Cat, minus 22 for Mikal, minus 17 for Jalen Brunson. The starting unit completely cooked. Now you're going to tell me, now I get Precious he's not a genuine starter in the NBA. He's not. And there's debate whether Josh Hart should be a starter in the NBA. He should be someone who comes in off the bench, who gives you that energy, that boost, that defensive prowess, helps burn opponents in transition. All right, but he is a starter on our team. You're going to tell me that's better than Strauss, Mobley, Allen, Mitchell, and Garland? That these guys are 30 points better than us. Or let's put it to be exactly here, an average of 20, what is this? 20, let's just round it up to 22 and a half points better. No way. There's no way. There's no way that's the case. It comes down to the coaching. Why are we so slow in our pace? Why is the shot, before we even get into an offensive set, there's only 12 seconds left in the shot clock? Why do we burn half a shot clock off before we even get, and then we're like standing around, like they're like standing around, they have the ball, the guy who's got the ball, whether it's McCall, and Brunson, you know, he kind of knows what he's doing, but either whoever it is, Cat, McCall, Precious, OG, they're like standing around like looking, okay, who do I give the ball to? Shouldn't they already know that? Shouldn't the play be run? Shouldn't there be a set happening? You know, some pistol action, double screen, anything. Anything. A pick and roll. You know, you start your pick and roll with only 12 seconds left. Guess what? If somehow they're able to collapse upon you, doesn't give you much options. That's coaching. That's scheme. It's not a coincidence that this Cavs team has made a leap this season after hiring Kenny Atkinson, who is the guy who I wanted originally to be hired before Thibs. And Thibs was my number 2. And I've suffered through it. I've had many, many fucking issues with him over the years, but he keeps delivering and improving the team marginally enough, but he burns his players out. And when we come down to the playoffs, we want to be as fresh and sharp as possible. And that is not going to happen with Tom Thibodeau as the coach of this team. I'm going to take a break for a second. Check the chat here. Shout out to everybody who's here. Thanks for joining me. We got, what do we got? We got over 116 people. Nice. Good turnout. Sandman, what's up? Jimmy, UCLA. UCLA. Let's see who else we got in here. David Smith. I saw Drew's reviews earlier. Chris Goodwin, what's up, man? No excuses. The Knicks need a new coach, a new direction, a new leadership. Things are better than they were back in the day, but now I want more. Absolutely. I want to win. I want to win it all. I don't want to just have a competitive team. We spent 5 picks, first-round picks that we had been stockpiling for Mikal Bridges, who, let's just be perfectly honest here, everybody. He has been a disappointment this season. Here, let's go just check out what he's been doing this season. This season, Mikal Bridges is averaging 17.6 points per game, less than RJ, by the way. 3.2 rebounds, less than what RJ gave. 3.3 assists, less than what RJ gave. A player efficiency of 8.3, less than RJ. This guy, he was supposed to be better than RJ. Remember that? Now, look what he's doing this year. It's his lowest scoring year since 2022. 23. Well, in that one he was traded. When he was with Phoenix, he was averaging less. 3-point shooting is under 36%. That's, that doesn't cut it. Even his free throw percentage, 74.2%. His rebounding is atrocious. The worst rebounding since his rookie year, 3.2. The assists, 3.3 for him. I guess it's kind of up there, somewhat decent number there. Steals, 1.0. He's a 5.3 in plus minus. And then when you look at his advanced splits, his defensive rating of 112.9, that's definitely decent, but it's not at the level of when he was runner-up defensive player of the year. This guy was runner-up defensive player of the year, I believe, to Giannis. I think that was the year Giannis won. He's nowhere near close to that. look at his pie. His pie with Brooklyn, 14.4. His combination between Brooklyn and Phoenix in 2022-23 was 11.2. You want to be in the double digits. You're an impact player when you're in the double digits. For the Knicks, he's an 8.3. And the way he approaches the game offensively, he doesn't put enough pressure on the defense. He doesn't force them to foul him. He avoids contact constantly. Even my son pointed out this when he came down, he's on a fast break. He does a 2-on-1. He does a turnaround fadeaway from the free throw line with nobody there to rebound. So it's either a make or a total miss. There's no chance, no second chance opportunity right there. To give up what we gave up to get a guy who can't even average 20 points a game, that's, right now, you have to call that a mistake. Hey, maybe he'll turn it around. Maybe he'll show up and he'll, I mean, maybe he'll return to being the guy he was with Brooklyn. You know, maybe. Or even the guy he was with Brooklyn last season. I mean, his shooting percentages were not good around inside the arc, but he was shooting 37.2% last season from the three-point line on 7.2 attempts. He was shooting 81.4% from the free throw line. He was averaging 4.5 rebounds. He was averaging more than 3.5 assists per game. Everything was up here. Now, he was on a shitty team, the Nets, but his efficiency numbers are way down right now. Way down. Look at him here. Right now, his true shooting is at 57.5%. Last season was at 56%. Not efficient. But the year before that, 58.7%. That's nice. Look at when he was his last full season with Phoenix, 62.7%, 66.7% the year before that. I believe that's the year they went to the finals, right? Yeah. And then 62% before that. This guy right here, this 60% true shooting guy, gone. We got this guy, 57.5. This is frightening. Look at this huge iceberg right here. This red iceberg. This is the lead tracker. The New York Knicks had a 5-point lead, and that was in the very first few minutes of the game. And then that's it. Just boom. Look at this. It jumped like 14-point lead by close to the end of the first quarter. And it just continued. The third quarter, there was a little bit of competitive spirit there. We kind of slowed the bleeding down, but we still ended up losing that quarter. The Knicks lost every single quarter. Every single quarter. Here, where is it? Here it is. All right, this is the first quarter. Knicks lost by 12. Second quarter, lost by 15. At the half, we were down by 27. 77 to 50. 77 points. I think that's the most points we've allowed in a half this season. Then, all right, the third quarter, we did lose it, but we only lost it by 4. And then the fourth quarter, 31 points. 31 points we lost that fourth quarter by. Wow, no, the first through third. Sorry, the fourth quarter, we lost that by 6. So we ended up losing the game. That was just... Honestly, at this point, there's no... I mean, we're not going to fire Tom Thibodeau mid-season. Based on what he's been able to accomplish with the team so far through his tenure, I guess he's earned the right to finish this out. But I will say it right now. If the Knicks cannot even get back to the second round, and that's a low bar for a third seed in the East. If they cannot do that, Tom Thibodeau should be fired. I mean, what other... I mean, unless there's some catastrophic injuries and stuff that reveal themselves. But if he gets back Mitch, and OG's healthy, and Hart comes back, and he's healthy enough to play, and then we just go roll into the playoffs with basically a full squad, and we are ousted in the first round, forget about it. The end of the Thibodeau era must come. If we get to the second round and get swept or gentlemen swept, the end of the Thibodeau era must come. The only thing that will save Thibodeau's job right now is if this team takes whoever they face in the second round to Game 7 or even defeat them and get to the finals. That's the only thing that's going to save this team. Because I do not believe that the talent on this team is a first-round exit squad. Especially, just look at how they perform against the rest of the league. It's just those three fucking teams that are the Achilles heel of this squad. And it's because, OKC is an outstanding defensive team. I mean, they can wipe the Cavs are nowhere in the OKC's league in terms of defense. But any team that is a very good three-point shooting team or high volume three-point shooting team that is at least somewhat league average hurts the Knicks deeply. And Tom Thibodeau refuses to adapt to that. And look, it's not just Thibs, because Leon assembles the roster. Could he have provided Thibs with someone better than a Landry Shamet off the bench? Someone better than a Precious as your backup, 5 and 4? Yeah, he could have. He totally could have. Could he have drafted Ryan Dunn instead of drafting Pacom Dade to save a few pennies so that he can make the deal for Karl-Anthony Towns? Maybe there was another way to do it. Ryan Dunn, excellent defender, contributes on the offensive end, a seasoned college player. He's providing meaningful minutes in the NBA right now. We don't have a single player we drafted. Huck Bordy, I guess this is considered meaningful minutes right now. But look how long it took. It took trading away Sims. Meanwhile, this type of game could have been happening back in November for him. And look where he would be now. Let's look at the team comparisons. The New York Knicks minus 10 in rebounds. Only 25 assists, so they're minus 13 in assists. They did end up with 8 steals, 3 blocks, but the Cavs got 12 steals, 2 blocks. The Knicks committed 16 turnovers in the game, but I believe 11 of those were in the first half. They did not take care of the ball when it mattered the most. They allowed Cleveland to shoot almost 61% from the field and over 51% from the three-point line. Even the free throw shooting was abysmal for the Knicks, 61%. They got destroyed in the paint, 66-38. That's a 28-point difference right there. Oh, my God. Second chance points, 13-5. Fast break points, 23-6. But let me tell you this, the bench scoring, 70 bench points for Cleveland to 30 for the Knicks. That is a minus 40 in bench scoring. So if our starters aren't cooking the opponent, there is zero chance for Knicks to win. The only part about this what I love about this, it removes the argument. Oh, well, it was second game of a back-to-back. Because I've used it. Because the Cavs were in the same exact situation. Same exact situation as we were. Now, they went home and played at home, so they have a tiny bit advantage there. But this much? Is it this much? of an advantage. The Knicks were once down by 42 points. I think that's the most all season long. Wow. That is truly shocking. That is shocking. One thing I want to see here is where, here we go. Knicks in the first half, they had 9 turnovers. I guess it was in the first quarter where they had the most turnovers. 4 turnovers. Second quarter. Second quarter, 5 turnovers. Ooh, it's just atrocious. Oh, man. Let's get back to this. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining me here. Appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Drop your comments if you're watching this later on. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings. I'm going to reread this whole chat later. And if you're dropping your comments in the replay, go ahead. Shout out to Juan Carlos, man. Freeway Hustler. Gideon, what's up, man? Gideon says, I say Eastern Conference Finals should save Thibs' job. Well, yeah. If he gets the Knicks past what they have achieved in his tenure, he deserves to stay. I agree with that. Son, yeah, British, man, that was just ridiculous. Drew's reviews, what's up? Also, George, take a look at the minutes by the starters and bench on both teams, quarter by quarter. I think that's a great segue. True. All right, see here. Well, this was a second quarter. I mean, the game was over in the first quarter. That's the shocking part. I was stunned sitting there in that first quarter. First quarter. Did I say second quarter? I meant first quarter. We were already down 12 points right away. 2 of 8 from the 3-point line. Cat couldn't hit a 3. OG couldn't hit a 3. Deuce looked lost. If it weren't for Jalen Brunson, this would already have been, we would be down by like 20, 25 points in that first quarter alone. With his 16 points, he was a beast in that first quarter, but then he cooled off tremendously. No points in the second quarter. He got into foul trouble. Third quarter, he came back. It was 10. Mikal woke up in that third quarter, but by then, he just couldn't get any traction, couldn't get enough stops. We were allowing them to continue scoring. They ended up shooting 6 of 11 from the 3-point line. Here's the thing, too. So we're down, right? We're losing by 27 points at the half, and you come out in the third quarter, and the strategy is what? What's the strategy to get back in this game? Get stops? I don't see it. We allowed them to shoot 52%. Is it to just outshoot them? All right, well, we did shoot 54.5%, but you're down 27 points. So shouldn't you be shooting more threes? We shot 5 threes. 6 less than the Cavs in that quarter. Right there. Look at the disparity. What was our other strategy? Get to the free throw line? How? When you have guys who are avoiding contact, like Bridges and OG as well. I don't even remember OG trying to drive to the hoop. At one time, he did make a dunk off of a great pass. I believe that was from Cat. But some of the passing, telegraphing, passes left and right. Just literally looking at your guy, waiting, beat, and then you pass it. What's the defense going to do? You're going to make them look like the best defense in the world when you play like that. Is that because, second game of a back-to-back? All right, I'll give you some of that. But they have the same, they could use the same excuse. But no, they looked sharp. The Cavs really looked good. I was impressed by the Cavs. As Fred Katz here tweeted out, first, Cleveland is awesome. Second, amongst other issues, Knicks had too many lapses guarding in transition during first half, not just after turnovers. Okoro took a corner 3 with 3 minutes to go in the half that was after a make, and no Knicks were even down the court. It was a wide open 3, and we got lucky he didn't make it because he's a terrible outside 3-point shooter. We got lucky. He should have made it. I wish he had made it to just rub that salt in the wound even more. But how do you leave a guy wide open like that? How do you leave any 3-point shooter on a team like the Cavs that are leading the league in 3-point shooting wide open? That should be defensive mission number one. Chase all three-point shooters off the line. And then, switch up, figure it out, rotate, whatever you can. If he tries to drive, take away passing lanes and step in front of him. I know I make it sound simple, but it kind of is sometimes. And now in those areas, that's where having a fully healthy OG is going to help. Having Josh Hart is going to help. And no one's going to help more than Mitch in that respect. For sure, Mitch is going to make a huge impact. And that's why I keep saying Thibs is coaching this team defensively like it's 2021, like he's still back then. When he had a healthy Mitch and we had Nerlens Noel who could just swat anything that was coming at you. And then last season and the season before that, when he had iHeart and Mitch combination, it covers up a lot of mistakes that your players make out on the perimeter. But if you're chasing guys off the perimeter, forcing them to drive or to look for other alternatives, you need someone down low. And Cat often, he's just not that kind of guy. He is not that kind of guy. But you cannot put all the blame on the defense on Cat. Because Cat has been part. He was, I think the Timberwolves, weren't they the top-rated defense last season? And that team went to the Western Conference Finals. Cat was a key part of that team. Yes, he had Rudy Gobert. And we're going to get Mitch Robinson back. Maybe that'll be an answer of sorts. But it really comes down to the philosophy. This drop coverage philosophy is so ingrained in these players by Thibs that even when they know it's not the right thing to do, they still do it. And Precious is a big victim of that. We saw it last night against the Bulls. There was a play where it was Kobe. Oh, no, was it Kobe? Yeah, it was Kobe White. Got the ball, top of the arc. He faked the drive, stepped back, and Precious just stood there and didn't even put a hand up. And Kobe buries it. But then almost the next possession after that, he finally learned this lesson. He got up on Kobe, suffocated him, and forced a bad attempt. But why? Why is it sometimes you do it? Why sometimes you don't? Why is it every time? We don't get wide open looks as a team because our opponents don't give it to us. And let me tell you, the other thing that's interesting about this is, look at this. The Cavs, nobody went, other than Donovan Mitchell had himself an outstanding game. He scored 27 points in 26 minutes. Here, let's go to here. Sorry about that. 27 points right here in 26 minutes. He shot 66%, 5 of 7 from the three-point line, 5 assists. He had an outstanding game offensively. Jared Allen, look at this, 5 of 6. Look at that efficiency. Mobley, 9 of 11. But Darius Garland, only 2 of 12. But Ty Jerome, 7 of 11, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. DeAndre Hunter, noted Nick Killer. He was brought to this team for this explicit purpose of hurting us, and it worked. In his 19 minutes, he took 7 shots, only missed 1. He hit all 4 of his three-pointers. And when you do drop coverage on a guy like that, he's going to make all 4. 16 points for him. But it's not like anyone went crazy and had like a 40-point game against us. They just all had incredibly efficient games. And that, to me, reeks of poor defensive prep. That's what it reeks to me. Or, here's the other thing. If the players were properly prepped and they came out with this kind of effort, if I was the coach, I'd be reading them the riot act right now in that locker room. I would, but I there's no way. There's no way that that's what actually happened. There's no way that happened. Let's get into the actual stats here for the Knicks. I've been bouncing around them. Towns finished 23 points, but only 7 rebounds in his 28 minutes. Bridges 14 points in his 29 minutes. Most of that came later on in the game. When did that come? Was that in the second half? Second half, he had a decent second half. 10 points for him there. Jalen Brunson finished with 26 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, but did commit 3 turnovers. Got a steal. Deuce, he had a tremendous game last night against the Bulls. Could not follow that game up with another good quality game, and that also hurts us, especially on a night when we're missing Josh Hart. In his 21 minutes of play, he only took 5 field goal attempts, hit 2. 3 rebounds for him, 1 turnover, no steals, no blocks. He had 3 blocks last night and 3 steals last night. None of that tonight. To go with his, what did he give us? 5 points for Miles Bridges. Ariel Hukporti, I thought he gave us some effective minutes. He's still raw. You can see he's a rook. He makes mistakes, but he ended up with 3 assists, go along with 1 steal and 1 block with his 4 points. Landry Shamet, I don't understand his role on the team. He should be used as a guy who comes off the bench and starts launching threes. That's what he should be doing, and then give you some defense on the other end. That's what he's not. He got 1 3-point attempt in the entire game. So who's the guy who comes off the bench and gives us that punch? I guess when Miles is not in the starting lineup, he's supposed to be that guy. But you need more than one. Man. Wiz. BKLA, what's up, brother? Man. I mean, you guys tell me. Am I crazy? Should I not expect anything more from this team than what it is? I mean, 37 wins, including tonight's loss. We're just supposed to accept it? That's it. So you have teams like the Hawks, who beat the Cavs twice in a row on back-to-backs. They can beat them. You know, but we can't. Wow. Oh, man. Comes back down to this. We are seeing the ill effects of overusing your best players in, not that they're meaningless games. Of course, every game is meaningful. But sometimes when you're up 18 points, in the fourth quarter, you can start putting in some bench players. You don't have to play guys 40 minutes, when you're up double digits. But Thibodeau did that countless times throughout this season. And now we are suffering from that. And then when you look at what the Cavs have, look at the way they play, and you see the results on the court, they look fresh. They look like they have spunk. We don't. We look like an old, plodding team out there. And we reflect what the coach is. Man. Well, gonna wrap this up soon. The Knicks play the Celtics on Sunday. It's an early game, a 1 p.m. start, East Coast time, 10 a.m. here in LA. I'm not holding out much hope for the Knicks to be able to do much in terms of showing up based upon this result here, but I hope they surprise me. I was hoping tonight was going to be that game. Both teams, second games of back-to-back, both teams had to travel. I thought, especially with the narrative out there that everyone's discussing about how the Knicks just can't compete with the elite teams, you would have thought that the players themselves and the team, the coaches themselves, would have just done everything possible to dispel that narrative. But they didn't. So I would be foolish right now to say I think the Knicks could win on Sunday against the Celtics, especially the way the Celtics play. But you never know. Basketball is a crazy game. Guys can get hot. Sometimes pride just takes over. Maybe Josh Hart will be ready to go on Sunday. Maybe Mitch will be ready to go on Sunday. And we might see a completely different team on Sunday than we saw today. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that. I really just hope that they show some fire and desire on their part. Even if they lose that game, I want to see them compete. Because we haven't seen that at all. In the 7 games against OKC, Cavs, and the Celtics. Was it 6 games? 6 games. We have not seen that from them, except for the first game against the Cavs. The Knicks were there. They gave that game up. But now, in lieu of what happened just tonight, it's hard to even look at that as anything positive. So I'm looking for something positive to happen on Sunday in terms of showing some signs of life on this team. All right, thank you so much for watching this. Man, drop your comments. Definitely want to hear your thoughts and feelings about this Knicks team and what's happening. And I still believe in the team in the long run. I think getting Mitch back and having him for 20-something games, and hopefully OG, whatever's happening with his foot, he ends up truly recovering from that. And with Josh Hart, he can manage the runner's knee issue, and that we can have the team that we were supposed to have all along, have it ready for the playoffs. That's the team I really want to see. In these last 20 games, we got 26 games left, 28 games left. That should be the mission right now. Whew. Man. For a while there, when the Knicks were kicking butt during the season, I really thought we had something truly special. And right now, it's looking like they're not quite there yet. But, again, it's still a work in progress. Not that Mitch is going to save the day. The other guys have to step up, and Thibs has to adjust to able to take advantage of what Mitch is going to bring. Okay, thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate everybody live joining me here. South Bronx, what's up? Sandman, Shot Franz, Roger Lewis, Drew Reviews, Wiz BK. Thank you guys for joining me here. Juan Ayala, what's up, man? Right there. He says, Cavs are not much better than us. They just have a better coach. Even if, hey, what's up, Thrifty by Nature? They do. They're not this much better than us. That's the thing. It's just shocking to think that is the case. Everyone's just, oh yeah, that's it. It's done. No, this is impossible. This is on the coach and on the prep, the team, and I put that on the players as well. It's okay. Yeah, seeing Johnny Bryant on the Cavs definitely stings a little. I don't know who's actually replaced him on the coaching staff currently right now. I don't know who is that voice of reason for Thibs. Okay, now we're signing off. All right, I will see you on Sunday. And let's hope that the real Knicks show up. I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.